about to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts. Be free with me. Let's be free with Not looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche. We're on the run, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts. Be free.
Good evening. Welcome to tonight's Revision Blast. We are looking at resource security today, which is a optional topic on paper 2. It is one of the less popular options, but we do have a few of you joining us tonight, which is good to see. On screen I have Suzanne, who is an expert at this, and I have Brendan, who is also an expert on resource security.
Hi.
And we are going to run you through a series of activities like we usually do. And as usual, if you can pop your answers in the chat, then we can have a look at them. And yeah, we will work that way. I can't remember who's starting tonight.
Not me.
Not you. Okay, so Suzanne, I will hand over to you. Suze, you are on mute at the moment. So if you can unmute yourself, that would be helpful.
That'd be perfectly helpful.
That'd be better.
Right, okay, so
should
we kick off now? Sorry, the first exciting activity we have is our game, which is the alternative vowels, one of my favourites. So you're going to see a word pop up on screen, and the vowels have been altered to different vowels. You need to work out what the word is, and it will be coming from your resource security topic. So let's start off with the first one. Brilliant. Thank you, Vicki. So if you think you know what this one is, pop it into the chat. Remember, the vowels have been changed to different vowels. So that first one in the first word, floor, it's the A that's not the right vowel. So which vowel should it be? And let's see if we're going to get anyone popping in the chat there. Go on, give it a go, have a think. Yay, well done, Alpha Beta. Well done. We've got some answers coming in now, so we'll reveal this one. So flow resources. So these are resources that can be naturally renewed in a short space of time, things like timber. Let's go for the second one, see if we can get anyone even quicker this time. So again, all those vowels are changed. Rooster orca, frantor. What do you think that should be? Pop it in the chat as soon as you spot it. Well done, GTA. Fantastic. We've got an answer, a few more coming in. Let's have a little look. There we go. It is, of course, a resource frontier. So it's a newly colonised region where resources have been discovered. Number 3. Let's see if we can get faster. You'll begin to see some of these words are similar. Okay, so what do you think this one might be? I think that second one is going to be a bit trickier. Let's see, is anyone? Oh, yeah, we've got it. Let's have a reveal, please. It is indeed resource peak. So thinking about something like peak oil, where it's the maximum production of resource and then it will go into decline after that point. Right, let's have a look at the next one. I think this one's a bit easier. Stock resources. What do you reckon? See who can get there fastest. I've got a competition at the moment between a couple of people. Hey, well done. GTA, let's have a little look. You are indeed correct with stock resources. Right, and next one. Oh, I think you're getting the hang of one of the words of these, but what's that first word going to be? What do you think it might be? It's to do with well-established resources. Well done, GTA, you got there first again. So it is indeed measured resources. So they're the ones that we can estimate with like real confidence that they exist. Right.
Or measured reserves, in fact.
Reserves. Sorry, you're right. Yes, I'm misreading, aren't I? Yes, reserves, not resources. On to the next one. Fantastic. Okay, what do you think this one is? Have we got anything coming up? Have a think. This is those types of things which we are sufficiently confident about, not fully confident, not really, really, really confident, but we have some confidence. What do you think they might be? Try and think what that first U might, which other vowel that might be instead. I think this one might have stumped them, Vicky.
It is tricky, this one, isn't it? Shall
Yeah,
I reveal?
it is. Yeah, I think let's go for a reveal. It is those indicated reserves, so ones that we are sufficiently confident that they exist. Slightly less than the measured reserves we saw earlier. Right, and the second to final one. We've got another one here. Okay, so see if you can work out what that might be. This is in the same area that we've just looked at. So we've got measured reserves, indicated reserves, and what do you think? Well done, Alpha Beta, you've got that right. These are in fact inferred resources. So this are kind of the assumptions that resources exist if deposits are continuous. So we're not 100% secure and certain on that. And our very, very final one here.
Susan, can I just also add there that it's kind of about, isn't it, whether they exist, but also the quantity and the quality of those resources, so whether they're usable or not as well.
Oh, absolutely, yes. And then final. Okay, what do you reckon? We've got 3 words here.
Are you not going to try and pronounce this one?
I will do. Rise arutsi stack evoliotia and there you go.
I think you nailed that second word.
It just slips off the tongue, that one. It's easy to pronounce. Right. Now I think this one's stumping people as well. We haven't got many answers here on this one. So shall we have a reveal, Vicky? So this is resource stock evaluation. So this is where we're assessing the quantity, quality, and sustainability of a resource. So that's your words for you. Make sure you know the definitions of all of those because they will be important in your very, very soon upcoming exam. So I'm going to pass over to Brendan now, who's going to have a look at some more questions.
Many thanks, Suzanne. Some of those words wouldn't have looked out of place in my GCSE Latin. Right, okay. Now to true or false. So the first one is a statement which you have to decide. These are very straightforward. Is it true or false? So if you're typing in the chat, you don't have a lot to do. You only have to type T or F. That's fine. Don't worry about it. So the first one, natural resources are evenly distributed across the globe. What do you think? So type T or F in the chat. That is false. Natural resources are not evenly distributed across the globe. Let's look at the second one. Protected areas and regions with high ecological sensitivity may restrict mining activities. Is that true or is it false? Make decisions as quickly as you can. Type in the chat, which I can't see at the moment. It's gone missing for me. I'm sorry about that, but
That's
I'm
fine.
sure
We've got some answers coming up.
Good. Right,
And they are correct.
the correct answer is true. Well done if you got that. The next statement to assess is China dominates the production of rare earth elements crucial for high-tech industries. This is something, the rare earth elements have been in the news a lot over the last 3 or 4 months for geopolitical reasons. So is it true to say that China dominates the production of rare earth elements? What do you think? True. That's correct. That's part of the reason for the conflict about it, I think. Okay, next question or next statement. South Africa was a major player in the gold rushes. Would you say that's true or would you say it's false? Make your decision. Type your answer quick as you can. T or F will do.
Yeah,
And the
we've
correct
got some
answer
answers coming
is
through.
true. So well done if that was your feeling about that one. The next statement is Antarctica has been mined extensively for its rich mineral deposits. Do you think that's true or is it false? Make your decision. T or F. Okay. Well done if you said that that is false. It is thought that it is rich in mineral deposits, but it has not been mined extensively due to the Antarctic Treaty, which is held for a long time now, well over 60 years. Okay, let's have a look at the next statement. Some parts of Southeast Asia may face water security issues related to pollution and contamination. Would you say that's true or would you say it's false? It's the last one of these. T or F will do. And the correct answer, well done if you said that this is true. Okay, back to Suzanne.
Thank you. Right. Okay. So the next activity is that we have a group of phrases in the box there. Now you have to work out how they group together. So there are groups of words which have connections to each other. So I would like you in the chat box to see if you can work out which ones match. So for example, if you wanted to talk about stewardship, you put 2A, and then you might choose another one that matches the stewardship and is in the same connection. So if we start off, and we'll see who can get one first. We've got them in a certain order, but we'll see if you can spot
Is
the
is it
ones
worth
first.
is it worth giving the hint that
The-
they're
the-
all to do with sustainability?
yes, Yes, they're all sustainability. They're all to do, sorry, yes, they're all to do with sustainability. So you've got different kind of elements of sustainability that you've got to group them in as connections. So if you want to make a start, see if you can get a few. I can give you a clue, but let's see if you get a couple of them right or match a couple of them up first before I start giving you a few clues on what those types of sustainability might be. Let's see. We'll see if this is stumping you or whether people can see some immediate connections in some of those. If you can just only find two that match, just stick two in the chat box. If you can only just find two connections between two words, just pop those in and that'll make a start for everybody. Oh, I think this is a tricky one, isn't it, Vicki?
I think so. I think the connection
Right,
all
shall I
always
give
is a
you a
tricky
clue
one, isn't
then?
it?
So I'm going to say that the first connection I want you to find is political sustainability. Oh, well done. We've got one answer that's come through. So have a look. Which ones are words that are to do with political stability? So just put in the chat box the number and the letter. So it's like the grid reference, I guess, of the word. So I want 3 words that are to do with political sustainability.
We actually want 4 because there's 3 groups of 4 for this one.
I think I'm gonna say I think there were only 3 for the first one.
Oh, hang on. Okay.
Came coloured up. Have a check.
You are
'Cause
correct. Sorry.
I've got 5 for
Yeah.
the last one. So it was a 3, a 4, and a 5.
Normally when I do them, I make sure
You
they all
do?
match, and like today I haven't.
Yes, you do, which is why I kind of double checked on myself.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's
I've
strange.
thrown
But no, I've
myself.
got 3, a 4, and a 5. I think this one's going to be too
Yeah.
tricky for some people. So shall we
Reveal.
reveal the political sustainability? So these are the key words, and think about how they're used in the specification in your textbooks. So we've got their mutually assured benefits, government value, license, royalties, and taxation. So that's got 3 out the way. So I'm going to ask for the next 4 matching words to do with economic sustainability. And I think it might be easier now we've got those 3 out the way. So we're looking for 4 words that match to do with economic sustainability. Oh, we've got a couple of answers coming in. Yes, I've got well done. GTA, we have got some there. Brilliant. Yeah, I think we've got some right answers there. So shall we reveal, Vicki? There we've got things to do with being economically sustainable, education, formal employment, standard of living, and insurance and pensions. So that means our last 5 are something else. Can you work out which type of sustainability it might be and pop that in the chat box? So what is our 3rd dimension of sustainability that those 5 words are connected by? Well done, Alpha Beta. Fantastic. Yes, indeed. And GTA is environmental sustainability. Fantastic. Right. I'll pass you back over to Brendan for some categorised tasks.
Thank you, Suzanne. So making connections is really important. By the way, that was the theme for the Geographical Association conference this year. So have a look back over those connection walls, because that was quite a tough round, but that kind of thinking is really important so that you can remember things. Okay, in this round, which is probably going to be a bit more straightforward, fingers crossed, you've got 3 categories, and you have to categorize these facts about fossil fuels by fuel type. So the 3 categories are the 3 fuel types: coal, oil, natural gas. And we're going to just give you a generous minute to do those. So off you go. So you can put just the numbers into these categories. If you're jotting them, just put C for coal, O for oil, N for natural gas will do, and then just put the numbers beside them if you're in the chat on that one. So I'll keep quiet so you can think for a moment. "20 seconds remaining." So make your final categorizations and we'll give you some feedback on that. Well done. Okay, the correct categories were as follows. So coal would have comprised dirty, high sulfur content, less processed, plus number 6, bulky and difficult to transport. Oil is numbers 2 and 3, so relatively cheap and flexible, and 3, submarine pipelines are important. Natural gas is 1 and 5, cleanest fossil fuel, and 5 is transport via pipeline or tanker as LNG. Just a few little extras to add to this one because it's quite interesting to consider these things. So coal, the biggest producer in the world is China, and it's often used, unbeknown to many people, in the metal and chemical industries. Oil, the leading producers would be countries such as Saudi Arabia and the USA, and it's also used in many other industries that people are unaware of. So petrochemicals are used in many, many things, from plastics to various lubrication oils and so forth, as well as fuels. Natural gas, leading producers, USA and probably Russia, although that may be changing a little bit. Fracking is potentially an abundant source, and it's often considered that natural gas is the cleanest fuel, but some people might dispute that. Another issue to consider is infrastructure. We're used to the fact that all these things, we have infrastructure to deliver them and use them. But if you go back 100 years, people's main source of heating in the UK was coal. Hence, you have many houses still, some of which you may live in, that have chimneys with fireplaces that may or may not be still used. People with cars in those days, because they were around then, not many of them around, but people had to take great big tanks of petrol with them beside the car, strapped to the car, because there weren't enough petrol stations. And the only gas people could use in those days was coal gas, which was stored in towns in massive gasometers. So things do change. You kind of think everything's going to stay the same, but things do gradually change. And obviously, we're in a big era of change at the moment towards more sustainable energies. Okay, back to Suzanne.
Thank you. Right. So I think we're doing a give me four now, aren't we? So you have got a minute, and what I'd like you to do, please, is in the chat box, see if you can write down some impacts of an environmental impact assessment that was looking at site for new coal mine. So what things would they be identifying as an impact? So off you go. See if you can think of a couple. I'm looking for four preferably, but any one will do. So we're about halfway. So start typing up those ideas to press return. Ooh, running out of time. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, right. So, shall we have a look, see if we've got the same as some of your ideas? So, when we're looking or when we're doing an EIA and thinking about the impacts, they can be things like you can see there aesthetic problems. That's what it looks like. And degradation of the landscape. So, what is it going to look like once the operations are finished and they just abandon the site? You know, what is the kind of afterlife of that location if it's been heavily mined? Particularly for like open cast mining. Another impact could be air pollution. So it causes a lot of dust, particularly from all the lorries going backwards and forwards, and also particulate matter from the mining and transportation of materials. Particulate matter can be particularly dangerous for kind of our own human health and respiratory illnesses that can be caused by inhaling PM. Noise pollution, you can see if you live near close to a site where they've got those huge, great big vehicles going backwards and forwards, carrying all the coal, but also blasting. So some of the open coal cast mines will use dynamite to kind of open up the veins and remove kind of whole segments of the coal. And finally, water pollution. It's almost impossible to mine like that without having some kind of impact on the water sort of the drainage basin, and there will be increased sedimentation as a result of removal of the topsoil, but also some of the rocks and coal. Lovely. So we've got that one, and I think I'm over back to you, aren't I, Brendan? Is this you?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I'm going to do this rockety thing here, and I don't know if there's any frightening sounds. Well, I wouldn't dream of it. Then we can see. I have no idea what you mean. Right. Okay. So this question here is: what sort of topography makes the most suitable location for a reservoir? You only have 10 seconds. This is not very generous like the last one. So quick fire. What sort of topography makes the most suitable location for a reservoir? Just jot any ideas that come into your mind in the chat if you can. Okay, the correct answer here, or some correct answers, would include these ideas. So a long, narrow valley basin with steep sides. So that means it has quite a large volume and a small surface area. So that's why countries that often have a lot of glaciation, like Norway or in the Himalaya, often have these kind of reservoirs. Second 10-second countdown is this question. What sort of geology makes the most suitable location for reservoirs? So the emphasis here is on geology. 10 seconds, go. Okay, so this one's talking about the rock types. So the rock types that would apply here are impermeable rocks. And that's because water is not lost to seepage, because impermeable rock, as you know, hopefully, allows water through it. So it doesn't allow water through it. So impermeable rocks are good to stop the water seeping away from the reservoir. Back to Suzanne.
Right. Yes. So we need 3 things here, please. So we're going to start the clock. I would like you to write down as many, preferably 3 main sectors of sources of water supply. So have a think. 3 sources of water supply. Where do we get water from? As soon as you've thought of an idea, pop it down. Yeah, I'm thinking about where they are more, Gabby, in terms of storage. So think of the storage source of water's supply. Okay, 10 seconds. See if anyone else has got some brilliant answers. Okay, yes. Yeah, Gabby. Right. Okay, so let's have a little look. So we can get them from surface water supplies, so rivers and reservoirs, ponds, just where it sits on the surface. We also have underground stores of water, so that are deep down in kind of the rock layers and underground aquifers. And finally, just as you said, Gabby, oceans, we do indeed have seawater. But of course, we can't drink seawater. We have to put it through the desalination process first, which removes the salt and makes it fresh water. That is ever so energy intense. We do have one actually just up in London on the south side of the Thames, and it uses some renewable energy biomass, but probably the most common, as Vicky's put there, is in the Middle East. But of course, they can use solar as a renewable energy source to create the energy needed to do this desalination process. So some areas are more able to do it than others in terms of the energy demands. Right, next one, please, this one is the main sectors that use and demand water. So think about where that water's going. All right, pop it in the chat box as soon as you've thought of the answer. This one hopefully is nice and easy. All right, we're halfway through there. I'm waiting to see who's going to be the fastest to pop something in the chat box. Yay, well done. Thank you, Gabby. I've just seen one pop up. Well done, yeah. Oh, we've got some great stuff. Yeah, well done, GTA Alpha, yeah. So 3, 2, 1. Yes, indeed. Let's have a look. Lots of you got these. So it's, of course, agriculture. We rely hugely on irrigation of crops. There's probably lots of case studies and examples you've looked at in your studies, particularly kind of quite arid regions rely on irrigation. And that accounts for a massive 70% of all the global water consumption. It's huge. The next one there you can see is industrial commercial, so things like manufacturing, cooling in electricity generation, so that uses up 22% of global water. And then us. So we use up 8% of global water through drinking, making our food, washing, brushing our teeth, going to the loo and flushing the loo. So all of those things, we use up 8% of all the water consumed. Right, and I think we have a final one now, which is giving the characteristics of areas with a water surplus. So thinking of those locations that have more water than the demand, so they are in water surplus. And what is it that is a main feature of that area? What common characteristics do they share? Pop it down into the chat box. And you've got some good answers today. Oh, gone past the 10 seconds. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Must press enter if you want yours to pop up in the chat box. Right, we have got the things that they all share, places with water surplus. You're going to have a climate which has regular and plentiful rainfall and year after year after year. So that means there's going to have good runoff stores. They're going to have aquifers that are refreshed regularly, large bodies of fresh water, so big lakes, etc. And effective water treatment and management. So countries which protect against water pollution. And I hope, and you've with your teachers, you probably had a look at the UK situation at the moment with water pollution. We really need good water quality and supply, but we seem to be polluting it quite regularly when we have too much rain and sewage entering the river systems. And finally, somewhere in the water surplus will, of course, have very low water usage in comparison to how much water they have. So that could be an area that has a low population, or they use it really efficiently. And that ends the give me 3, and I will head back over to Brendan, please, for his little bit. He looks like he's got 30 seconds for you.
Yep. Thanks, Suzanne. Right, it's actually 2 lots of 30 seconds. So it's like 1 minute overall of thinking time here for a couple of questions. So, first question, what issues are caused by water shortages? Jot down anything you can think of in the next 30 seconds. What issues are caused by water shortages? There are some obvious answers and some more tricky answers. So, see what you can come up with. 10 seconds left. Jot down any thoughts you have. Okay. Time is up. So the issues caused by water shortages include, this is not an exhaustive list, but droughts. Hopefully you got that one. I think someone did get that one absolutely straight off the bat. So because that kills crops, livestock and people. Increasing waterborne diseases, because that can be linked to contaminated water because it's not being, diluted enough. Then lower industrial output and food production is another issue. And finally, in this list, we have the over-exploitation of water resources. Okay, there may be other valid answers, of course. Okay, let's have a look at the second 30-second challenge, which is what problems are caused by over-abstraction? What problems are caused by over-abstraction? You need to know what abstraction is for this one, everyone. So hopefully you do. Jot down your ideas in 30 seconds. Go. So hopefully you have not forgotten what abstraction is. It's basically the removal of water or the taking of water from a source. So what problems can be caused if we overdo that? Your time is very nearly up. Okay, these are the problems that can be caused. So rivers dry up, and that has an impact not just on the river itself and the river habitats, but habitats around it. You can lose wetlands, and which changes the vegetation again. That could be having an impact on habitats for plants and animals that enjoy wetland environments. The drying of the soil will obviously have an impact on crops. you will suffer from a reduction in or a lowering of the water table, and you can get subsidence, which can cause problems with infrastructure like roads, railways, houses, etc. I did a little bit of looking up on this one because there's another idea which is kind of linked to these, which is salinization of soils. And apparently, abstraction is the primary driver of salinization for fields near to many coasts. And it's a global phenomenon that affects 500 million people. It's particularly an issue in coastal areas, but not exclusively so. So just a little bit of added value there for you. And we go back to Suzanne for categorise.
Thank you. Right, this one should be nice and straightforward. You've basically got 8 sentences. You need to work out which ones of them are benefits of dams and reservoirs and which ones are environmental impacts of dams and reservoirs. So just put down B for benefits, I for impacts, and then just put the numbers down which you think link to those two things. And you now only have 45 seconds to do that as quick as you can. Ooh, just had a big jump there on mine. Okay, we're almost 3/4 of the way through our minute. Let's see who's going to be the first to answer this one with a full set of answers. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Oh, well done, Alphabeta. You just got in there very, very right. About probably 58 seconds. Well done, you. Right, let's have a look then. So, benefits are that they can control flooding. So, you can kind of monitor how much water is and adjust that. It creates a stored water supply, so it's great for the reservoir, obviously, for then producing kind of drinking water. And it often has multiple purposes. So not only does it provide water, but there's obviously recreation that often goes there. So you can sometimes have hydroelectric power being generated. So they can be really useful in a variety of ways. If we look at the impacts of dams and reservoirs, we can see that they do cause sedimentation and siltation. So the reservoir itself can get kind of silted up, and also some of the machinery that the water might be passing through can sometimes get blocked with stuff. You can see that it creates a microclimate, so there is a higher wind speed across those open waters. It can change the river regime downstream, so if you can control the water and you're letting less water downstream, then the river downstream could begin to dry up, or certainly the river levels fall at certain times of the year if you're holding water back. Habitats lost as the valley floods. So anything, all the biodiversity that was there before would kind of be non-existent, as it would have been underwater. And we also have disruption to fish migration. So fish can't really pass through reservoirs very easily. They do sometimes have mitigations in place, but overall, I did teach this the other day, fish aren't that bright, so they don't always know which way to go, even if there is a little channel for them. Right, okay, and I think that is now back over to Brendan, and we are almost nearly done.
Thanks, Suzanne. So we've got a 60-second challenge now, a generous minute to do this matching exercise. You have 8 things to think about. On the left, you will see letters A through to H. You have to decide whether the numbers on the right are in the right place. Big hint, they're mainly not in the right place. So how do you put these numbers beside these letters correctly? So read each statement, just write down A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, down to that, and add the numbers that should be beside those letters beside them. You've got 30 seconds left. With these sort of things, always good to do a process of elimination, do the easy ones first and do the more difficult ones after that. 10 seconds left. And time is up. Let's have a look at the list. So the correct sequence should have been as follows: 5, 8, 3, 6, 2, 1, 4, and 7. I think probably the first two there, A and B, water insecurity and water stress, would be the easiest of them all to confuse. So make sure you know the fine differences between those two. Okay. And that's me done on that one. So back to Suzanne.
Right, so this is the final activity, which is scrambled sentences. Now you can see that you have got 6 sentences on the board, and what you need to do with these is put them in the correct order so that they explain how the process of desalinization works. So as you can see there at the bottom, it says some high-income countries increase their water supply through desalinization. That's removing salt from seawater to produce fresh water. So how does that process take place? What's the first thing they have to do? What's the second thing, the third thing, and what? Obviously, the last one will be the final thing. So you just put those numbers in the order which you think they ought to be reordered, as they are muddled. And we don't have a timer on this one, so I think I will give you a minute. So see if you can get them done within the minute. If you think you spotted the first couple, you could always put those in the chat box and do it in 2 sections. And see what you think which way they go round. Okay, I think you guys are at your minute. So should we have a reveal, Vicki?
Yeah,
and just see which
just
way round
done.
they go? Oh, is it already
Yeah,
done?
I've just done it.
Oh, sorry, my screen's gone a bit fuzzy actually. So yeah, you can see there that they take in seawater from the ocean, and they're kind of very careful because they put a grill there so that little tiny marine life don't end up getting sucked into the desalinization plant. They then infiltrate it, so they try to remove some of the solids, the sands and sediments. So anything that's kind of solid will be removed from there. They do reverse osmosis. You may remember doing osmosis in your GCSE science. So they filter the seawater, is pushed through these really fine membranes under really high pressure, meaning that fresh water only passes through, leaving kind of a concentrate of the seawater behind. Then you can see there's remineralization. So they have minerals added to it so that it can meet specific government guidelines about what water should include, and they store it. So they have to store it carefully so it doesn't get contaminated again. And then they distribute it through the regional networks. And water outlet is where the seawater is returned. So what they don't use, they put through diffusers to dilute it and put back into the ocean. So that's desalinization for you. Right, I think that draws us to a close. We've had a very good evening.
It does. Thank you very much. Thank you for those of you who popped your answers into the chat. I think we had a bit of a battle there between Alpha Beta and GTA Baller, who were our superstars tonight. But we did also have Gabby and a couple of others popping some good answers in as well. And obviously, Thank you to Suzanne and Brendan for their for presenting tonight. We only have 2 left, which unfortunately means we are obviously getting quite close to those exams now. We've got ecosystems under stress next week, and we have changing places part 2 in 2 weeks' time, which actually Suzanne and Brendan will be presenting. Next week I've got Catherine and Fiona presenting. If you've missed any of the sessions, then please go back and have a look at the playlist of all the previous revision blasts, because we have been going now since January, and I think this one was week 12, wasn't it?
It was,
So,
yeah.
we've done a lot of these. But anyway, thank you, and we wish you a good evening. Hopefully we'll see lots of you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks very much. Bye.